Hello everybody, it is Saturday the 24th of January and I want to talk one more time about channeling, and I want to talk about the usage of words because channeling means something very specific. It is something very specific that you're doing, and again we must be correct in the way that we use words. We must be very clear about what it is we're talking about. And to be quite honest, I made that mistake myself. I used the word channeling in the wrong way. It's just that I just had a conversation in the comments with Renee, and it is very true. It is in giving that we receive. When you're trying to explain something to somebody else, it suddenly becomes clear to yourself what it is you're actually saying. So I want to talk about channeling and the way that it is incorrectly used. And I've done that myself. It's only just become clear to me that I've done that. There is the receiving of information, coming either from within yourself, coming from the environment that you're in, or coming from beyond this earthly environment. We receive information and we give information. And that is being in the web where the information flows from one to another. Now, receiving information, as I said, it is something you hear. It's something that comes from within yourself. Past experiences, knowledge that is already there, that is already part of your structure of what you think you are and what it is you think you're in. So it could come from there, from the structure that is already there within you. It could come from somebody else. Either you hear them say it, or you read it somewhere, or what happens to me quite often, you're in the supermarket and all of a sudden you're picking up this item, you have this urge to buy this item, so you do it. And when you come home, somebody comes and says, oh God, I've been thinking about that all day. That was knowledge received. Not verbally, but on the pathway of a connection, like the connection of my connection with those that are in this house, that are part of the family that I'm connected to. I think if you connect to people on the internet, quite often there can be a connection there, because quite often I can hear thoughts and then I hear that person say that in the next video. So I think we're building connections all the time, and I think we also build connections to beings that are not in this realm. But that is just still part of the natural web, even the supernatural being natural. Because that is what we naturally are. We can stretch out further than even this realm, even this world. So, as I said, I'm not, and I used the word channeling for the receiving of information. And that is actually not what channeling is. That is just that. It is giving and receiving of information. And said quite often, knowing the source of the thought that rises up within you. And quite often I cannot pinpoint the source. That's the thing. I do not know where it's coming from. I cannot point to it in my own experience. There's nobody in my family said anything like that. I haven't heard it. So where the hell is it coming from? But the thought is there. So I received it from somewhere. So, as I said, that is being in the natural web of information. And at that point, whenever we do that, receive information, as long as there's a self that is judging, it is good. This is how the self evolves, through the receiving of new knowledge. This is how the self continuously changes its perception of itself, where we add things to what we think we are and what we think we're in. And sometimes we take things away. Yeah, we contract. We look at information that we had within ourselves as truth, and then we take that away. Because in the light of new information, which is coming all the time, we might judge something wrong that we previously believed in. But this is how the self evolves. Yeah, how the self continuously changes. And that is the point. It is also the point, I think, of this experience of life. It is change. It is creating change. And hopefully, and again, this change could change you for the better or for the worse, depending on what you incorporate as truth. Yeah, that this can go either way. But that is what we're doing. And I think that is what we should be doing. Yeah, we are not something that is set in stone. We're not something that is set in stone. We're something that can continuously evolve, change, and through the change have new experiences. Through the change in yourself, your experience changes. And I think that is what we should do, and that is what we are. Okay, so that is giving and receiving. That is different from channeling. What you say when you say I'm channeling is a process by which, first of all, you do become connected to a source, to one specific source, and that is another consciousness. That is another being, that's another entity. That is not the glorious creator of all. Yeah. And then what Jesus did and what the prophets did and what others did is your self, your ego, everything that you know steps out of the way and opens a channel. That's channeling. You open a channel. And then when you start speaking, you are not speaking your own words, but you're speaking the words of the other entity. And whilst you are doing that, there is no judgment of your own in what it is you're saying. Because that is really what needs to step out of the way, is judgment. So, and that is, in a way, that is again what Jesus taught. He taught so many things in that New Testament, and it's all thrown into one pot and whirled up, and it's the glorious will of God. He taught the all within, and us in the all. The Father and I are one. Yeah? The kingdom is within you. It's all around you. That is you in the all and the all within you. That is pure hermetics, what he taught there. And then he showed different things that you can do with that. Healing was one of them. Yeah, so transmutation, foresight, so many different things that could come that you can do on the spirit, so to speak. Channeling is one of them. And when Jesus said, and here comes, for myself I say nothing. Do not judge. Yeah? I only say what I'm being told to say. I only do what I'm being told to do. Yeah, when I speak words, it is the Father that speaks through me. Again, and that moment, be very clear, that is not the all. That is not the creator of all. He's speaking the words of another entity. And that is channeling. That is very specifically channeling. That is what that word means. As I said, the prophets did it. Jesus did it. People in this world. Daryl Anka, he speaks the word of Bashar. Daryl has to step out of the way for Bashar to speak. The woman that channeled the raw materials. That is exactly what happened. The medium steps out of the way. It becomes the sound box for another voice. That is channeling. And as I said in my video before, it is something that a human being is capable of. That is one of the things we can do. And there you can see there's so many different things. As in the material world, you can have different professions. You can be a doctor, you can be a builder, you can be a mechanic, whatever, a teacher. So in the spiritual, there are healers, there are channelers, there are remote viewers, there are different capabilities, different things you do. And somebody who channels does exactly that. He allows the voice of another entity to speak in this word. He becomes the sound box. So Jesus became the sound box of that entity that was in heaven, not in this realm. But again, make very clear, channeling means you're connected to one other entity. That is the source then of the words that you speak. And as I said in my video before, I am not channeling. See, that is it. I'm not channeling. I'm in the web of information. I receive. I judge what I think is true and what is not true. I think about outcomes. Yeah, what will that knowledge create in this world? And should it be doing that? I do not take as gospel. That's the thing. I do not take as gospel everything that I hear. But I judge. Which has been in the web of information as an I am. Somebody who has self-determination, determines what it is they should let in, what it is. What you let in will create you. Yeah? So, but as I said, I was thinking about channeling. Because for some reason I think something is pushing me in that way. You know, to become a channel. And I was just thinking about what good it does in this world to do that. I mean, it is the bringing of knowledge. It is the bringing of knowledge from another realm. But are people ready to receive it? Yeah? And for a person to be ready to receive that knowledge, that means they must be of sound judgment. Whereas when I look at this world, most would follow blindly, fall flat on their face and worship, and take everything you say as gospel, because that is not what it is supposed to be. Yeah, if I were to channel something and speak, what I'm saying would not be gospel. It would be just the perception of another entity. You know, it is like I would faithfully repeat everything that my neighbor in this physical realm is saying, and I would just say everything that my neighbor says. Yeah, without judgment, without thinking about it. My neighbor said, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing, only your neighbor does not happen to be in this realm. Yeah. But I mean, would you take everything that your neighbor says in this realm as gospel? Well, some do. I wouldn't. And you shouldn't take anything that comes from somewhere else as gospel, as the only truth. It's just another perception, or knowledge grown out of a different perception. And here comes, that's why I was thinking about channeling, because if this world is not ready to be of sound judgment or have any kind of discernment, especially at this moment. You see, I think channeling might happen more and more whilst people are being conditioned to not think for themselves. And I said that is a complete recipe for disaster. So here comes. So I really think we must be very clear about what it is we're saying when we say channeling. There's a difference between channeling and just receiving information out of the energetic web that we are in. They're two different things. And just thoughts coming to you is not actually channeling. That is just being in the web. Channeling actually means, you step aside. You let something else speak through you. And I can see it is a way by which knowledge can be given. Knowledge of other entities coming into this world through you. Which might be good. You might say something useful. Even if you're not in control of saying it. But the problem is the world ready to receive? And at the moment everybody seems to be being driven into, give up all judgment, don't think for yourself, and everything that comes from out there is gospel. Follow, worship, switch off your brain. So I don't think this is a good environment at the moment to do such a thing. You probably would be doing more harm than good. That's just what I was thinking about in my last video, whether it is a good idea. Humans are obviously capable of doing it. Been doing it for forever. Question is whether we should. We can, but should we? Is it a good idea? Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.